and welcome to the No Experience. I'm Cherie No, and today, y'all, I want to give you 10 tips for visiting South Korea. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so number one, I really recommend that you download KakaoTalk. It is the most widely used texting app here in South Korea. And the reason why is when you're in South Korea, you can also text family and friends back in America or what country you're from. And you can also call them for free and do video calls for free, which is really useful. Now, Kakao also has other apps for their subway and also for taxi cabs. And these can be really useful when you're visiting Korea, especially Seoul. Okay, my number 2 tip for visiting South Korea. I definitely recommend that you learn a few Korean phrases. Now, you definitely don't have to speak Korean or be fluent in Korean by any means to visit South Korea. But it certainly wouldn't hurt to know a few phrases, especially things like hello, 안녕하세요, or thank you, 감사합니다. Those are just a few simple phrases that will help you get around in Korea. Some people speak English, but some people don't. And so it's just better to be polite and learn a couple of simple phrases to help you get around. Okay, and before I get into number 3, I do have a little announcement. I have added some new merch. So the link is below in the description box and in the comments. So check it out. And your contribution will help support us going around and showing you more of the interesting things about this country. And without further ado, number 3. I definitely recommend that you bring deodorant and a towel. Now, it's not that you can't get deodorant in South Korea, though I gotta be honest, I haven't seen it in any of the markets that I've gone to. You can buy it online, but it is expensive. I did buy some online here in Korea, and it was like $8 for a stick of deodorant. For some people, that might be reasonable, but I'm used to buying like the $2 Suave stick or whatever you would get at Walmart in America. So, I've got this one little hair that is driving me crazy. It won't stay back. Also, the reason I mentioned the towels is if you've seen any of my videos before, you've seen that I've mentioned the towel sizes in South Korea are really small. They're comparable to the hand towels that we use in America. And that's the towels they use for the showers. And this also goes for most hotels as well. So if you want something a little more comfortable that you can wrap your body in when you get out of the shower, you might want to bring your own. Another tip for when you visit South Korea, do not be afraid to try the street food. Street food in Korea is amazing, and there are millions of videos on YouTube about it. In fact, I'll probably make one as well. They have, especially in Seoul, Myeongdong, Hongdae, there are so many great places that have fantastic street food. And let me tell you, Koreans have made so many varieties of corn dogs I have never thought of before, and they are amazing. So when you come to Korea, don't be afraid to give some of these a try. Okay, something else that will be a great tip for you when you visit South Korea that you'll want to just remember in case there's any type of emergency. In South Korea, many people, if you've ever watched a K-drama, you're already aware of the number 119. This is an emergency number similar to 911 in America. However, it is only used for fire and medical emergencies. If you need police for some reason, the number is 112. I didn't know for almost a year that I lived here that there were 2 different numbers for these. But now you know. So jot them down, and I'm sure you'll have no need to use them when you're in Korea. But if you do, now you know which one to use. Okay, another really helpful tip I want to give you when you want to come visit South Korea is if you are on any medication, make sure that the medication you want to bring into the country is legal. For the most part, most medication is legal in South Korea. However, there are things like Adderall for ADHD or certain pain medications that may not be legal here. You can apply for a narcotics permit. I have mentioned this in another video and give a little more description about it. But if you go to the Korean Embassy website, you can find out more information about it there and how to apply for your narcotics permit. I had medication that I had to bring into the country the first time I visited here, and I definitely needed that permit. But now that I live here, I have found an alternative medication to use. So just double check that you all are good to go. Okay, my number 7 tip for visiting South Korea. Be prepared for staring.
Stop staring. I know I look good.
And I have talked about this before, but I just want to, get you prepped mentally for it. For the most part, the staring is not a negative thing. They're just curious and often surprised. It's not that there are no foreigners in Korea, because obviously there are. Hello. some areas just don't have as many. And so they're not as common, especially because coronavirus has been going on for almost 2 years now. But staring is something that happens to me on a daily basis. They're just curious. They don't see as Korea is not a very diverse country. It's becoming more diverse now, but it's still not a very diverse country. And so when they see foreigners, they're very curious. It's interesting. And I have to admit that even for me, because where I live in South Korea, there really aren't that many foreigners. And so when I do see one, even I find myself gawking and staring, mostly out of excitement. So I realized that even if I'm doing it, then of course Koreans are going to do it as well as a curiosity. Okay, another tip I have about when you visit South Korea is after you're done eating at a restaurant, if you have leftovers,
don't ask for a doggy bag.
Because you won't get one. In fact, they probably won't know what you're talking about. And if or once they do understand what you're asking, they probably don't really know exactly how to pack it up. In Korea, doggy bags are not really a thing. Now, you can order food to go, but once you've been sitting down in the restaurant eating your food, and then you want to take like the leftover side dishes that you haven't finished with you, it's not going to happen. And one time I actually asked my husband if it was possible to ask at the particular restaurant we were at, and he was like, no, that please don't. We definitely don't do that here. So there are exceptions to that rule. So if you're Korean, and I do have Korean viewers, of course there are exceptions to that rule, and there are a few restaurants that do provide doggy bags as we're aware of them in America. But I'm just letting you all know when you come to visit South Korea, that's not going to be common. So, if you don't finish your food, just leave it there to go. Okay, another great tip. Do visit the Korean palaces and rent hanboks. Did you know that if you go and you rent a hanbok and wear the traditional Korean garments at the palaces, you can get in for free? And free is my favorite number. And what's also interesting is that the last time I did this in Seoul, I actually had a lot of Koreans come up to me and ask me if they could take pictures with me. They kept saying, "Oh, you look so beautiful. The hanbok is so beautiful on you." It was really nice. And lastly, I want to give you the tip on how to quickly convert won into dollars so you have an idea how much things cost. Simply put, if you take the comma out of the amount and put a decimal in there, you will know. For example, 10,000 won would be about $10. So it just will make your life a lot easier when you're trying to figure out how much something costs that you want to buy. I hope these tips were really helpful to y'all, and I really appreciate you watching. Please do consider subscribing. I am trying to monetize the channel. All funds that go from monetization as well as from my merch account will help go into future videos so I can show you more of this amazing country. And if you would like to support the channel in another way, you can do so financially at patreon.com/theknowexperience. So y'all, until next time, stay classy, YouTube.